Welcome to the Dynasty Stock Market. Hey, it is Tuesday, and what a slate of games we just had this past week 12. And we're rolling into the holidays. We got Thanksgiving coming up, and the NFL loves to take all the attention. We've got 3 games on Thursday. We've got a Black Friday game with the Black Hole Raiders versus the Chiefs. That's going to be a good one. But you might notice we've got someone here. It's not Biggs. It's actually Evan Ringler from Player Profiler. And this is one of the minds behind the stats and projections that you see on their website. And I'm using those. I've been using them on my Sunday shows. Really quickly, though, Biggs, he's out sick today. So shout out to Biggs. Hopefully he gets well soon and ready for the big feast coming up on Thursday. But Evan, thanks for jumping in here, man. I appreciate you. How you doing, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. Looking forward to a great week. We got no teams on bye, which is nice for our fantasy teams, but not necessarily nice for the projections.
Yeah, I bet, man. I recorded a pick'em show this morning, and like just getting through all of the teams, I'm like, I'm running out of breath here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, tell the people where they can find you out on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Evan Ringler FF, and then I also put out a podcast every Friday called Stat Masters, where I basically just provide a bunch of statistical takeaways from the previous weeks. And then you can also, find my work at Player Profiler. I'm involved in all of the rankings over there and all of the metrics.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, if you want to throw your at in there, go ahead. But yeah, man, been a crazy week. Usually on the show, we make sure to go over some of the risers and fallers over the past week, and also really want to see how we did in some of these matchups and keep it going from there. So Evan was awesome, man. He jumped in here and actually gave us some trades of his own that I'm going to share on the screen for you guys here. So this Evan's a MFL guy. I got a couple leagues on MFL as well. So take us through this first one. Let me know if anything is in the way for you here. But
No, this is good. Good.
yeah, which side are you on and all that? Okay, me
you'll
on the
see that I scraped out a 2-point win. I played Andy Dalton as my only quarterback, so that didn't look great. And then I got another 0 from Amani Hooker, who had kind of a Bijan game where we figured out he had the flu like 5 minutes beforehand. But yeah, I just wanted to take a look at this roster because I do have a lot of stars on it. I have Josh Allen, who was on bye, Achan, AJ Brown, Tyreek, DK, Amon-Ra, and some defensive stars as well. But there's just absolutely no depth. I mean, you'll see I'm starting Andy Dalton and Julius Chestnut. So that's never something you want to see, but I'm still going to make the playoffs, and this 2-point win definitely helped.
Yeah. What's the record right now?
I think 9-4.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're gonna make it for sure. And yeah, with the Chan, I mean, that's a guy you guys have ranked highly a lot of times here. We haven't seen it from Tyreek, but you got a lot of high upside guys on here as well. Tight end slot, I think I would call that figured out. You're pretty good there.
Mm-hmm.
Biggs is in a lot of IDP leagues. I'm in one, so he's always talking IDP on this show. I feel like this is the main show I'm hearing IDP talk, but yeah, man, good luck. So I mentioned to Chan, he's a guy where, again, I wanted to get what goes behind some of the statistics and projections that you guys do, and I can pull up that for the folks, but I'm curious, from your perspective, what does go into making some of these projections?
Yeah, so it always starts with our team level projections. We want to project total play volume for an offense as well as their run pass split depending on game script and, how fast this offense is versus expectation and how much they pass versus expectation. So that's the first step. And then we, look at target shares and rush shares and stuff like that to create volume for on a player basis, of course. And then there's efficiency, where we use all of the efficiency metrics at Player Profiler, juke rate, yards created, all types of stuff like that to create, some really good projections, I think.
Oh, I think so. And like, it's funny when I'm doing my show for, Waiver Wire, or excuse me, Start Sits on Sundays, like I'll be looking at the projections and then I'll be like, I mean, like I may have two guys. I'm like, man, this is kind of close. Let me look at the projection that you guys have them like exactly tied somehow. So they're always like at least kind of in line with what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid over here or something like that. What's going on, Tales from the Geek? Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, Evan here behind some of the stats at Player Profiler. And yeah, man, it really is so crazy how, each week you're kind of in a different situation. You got to factor in the injuries, got to factor in the matchup. On a show earlier today, I actually showed that this Sunday night game, Green Bay versus the Dolphins, or whenever they play, it's either Thursday or Sunday night. But I saw it's going to be snow game, and we know how the Dolphins do in the snow. It's pretty bad. Do you ever factor in the elements like that, weather or whatever?
Well, absolutely. When it comes to something like snow, it has to be pretty bad weather for me to factor it in, but that will certainly be factored in.
27 degrees, supposed to be on and off snowing, actually. So not supposed to be that blizzard game that we saw last Thursday, but it's actually supposed to be colder than that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that is not what you want to see from a Tyreek or Waddle perspective, for sure. But maybe Achane and Jonnu will still get their touches. That's what I would kind of expect.
Yeah. So yeah, I was mentioning Achane. We already know he's already at the top, but look, you did mention one of the other guys who has, I think, been rising in Jonnu Smith. Is this real, or is this just kind of a flash in the pan? And is this something that you're going to be going back to the well, or even making some moves? A lot of teams, they either just had their trade deadline or they got a week 13 or 14 trade deadline. So kind of the last chance to make some moves. But your team, you had Njoku, you're feeling set there, but Jonnu's outscored him this past week and he's looking good.
Yeah, I think from a from a 2024 perspective, it's certainly real. I'm going to expect him to continue producing around, tight end 4 to 8 level for the rest of the year. After this year, it's a question mark, which is why I'm not necessarily buying for 2025, but definitely buying for 2024, and who knows where he ends up.
Yeah, let's take a look here. So we've got Jonnu here, and guys, let me know if you're having trouble seeing this, but right now for Tommy DeVito is one of the top traded for players. Mike Evans returned from the bye, Juwan Jennings, but you look at Jonnu here, you can so maybe want to like a Mechie and a second round pick for Jonnu. So basically, are you willing to give a second round pick for Jonnu?
In the right situation, yeah. If I really need a tight end, yeah, I would do that.
Third for Jonnu, then you're probably doing that. That's probably very comfortable range there. I'm seeing multiple, we got at least 4 second round picks for Jonnu here. So that looks like about the price. Yeah, maybe it's tough for some, but it could be a win-win. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
All right. So, but we always call out the top guys here on this list. Juwan Jennings, this is going to be kind of hard to avoid this one. But I would like to talk about him, Tracy, Sutton. These are guys that, Sutton, obviously, before the season, nobody wanted him, left for dead. Now he's got a quarterback because in my waiver wire show earlier today, I actually called out Devon Vele. So with Bo Nix being a legitimate quarterback, I mean, is Cortland Sutton someone you're willing to go after on a contender? I'm seeing some very interesting deals that I'm trying to kind of go with one that looks a little more realistic. 2 second-round picks for Sutton is 2025, 2026. I'm seeing it second straight up. That's kind of close to what I would do. Wow.
Yeah.
And these are from within the last 24 hours. For a first, I'm out. It has to be like the 112 or maybe it's a 12-team league. But yeah, are you in on Sutton?
Sort of. I really like him as a player, and his expected points have looked great this year. He hasn't necessarily met that standard. He's one of those guys where his targets are very volatile. They're usually contested and down the field, which is a great opportunity to make highlight plays, but not necessarily consistent production on those. So, I like him, and I would pay. I think a second is fair. I think that's fair. Anything more than that, I'm probably looking elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it feels risky, but I like to believe that Sutton, who was, kind of did a soft holdout in the offseason, he wanted another contract. I think he's well earned it. This may actually be his best season. It might be. So I think he might be back in Denver. Somebody could definitely use him. So I'm fine getting him now, and he's probably at least got a couple of years in him. I just did a trade for Tyrone Tracy. One of the homework assignments, and sorry, I actually forgot to mention this to you, but one of the homework assignments Biggs gave to people before the last two episodes, each of the last two episodes, he's asked people to come with some trades they've done. And Tyrone Tracy, that's a guy I recently went out and acquired. This is a bad team, so I'm a little scared about that. Only 9 carries for him in his last game. He had another fumble. Singletary was the one that ended up getting the touchdown. But it's just a bad team. So I've since made another trade to get another running back. But anyway, for this year and even next, are you feeling good about Tracy? Let's factor in the next draft class has a lot of good running backs.
Yeah. Not for this year. I'm really not all that interested. I think he's a very good player, but the situation is just horrible. At least with Daniel Jones back there was a little bit of something to that offense. I think without him, it's pretty much completely dead. And I kind of expect the team to give up on Brian Dable as well. I don't expect great performances from that whole team going forward. So I can't trust Tracy. I like him as a player, which means I have interest for 2025. But like you said, it's a great running back draft class, and it's not guaranteed that he escapes it. I actually made a Tracy trade a couple weeks ago, too. I gave up A.J. Brown and Tracy to get Kyler Murray.
Okay.
In a Superflex league.
Where I didn't have Tracy to get caught. Yeah, quarterback. Yeah. They're not even giving up the quarterback. Nice. Yeah. I like that. The trade I did, and real quick on here, Tracy for 2025 second. To be honest, I'm a little bit nervous. Like I actually would do this if things were a little bit better for Tracy. I probably still would do this, but I want it to be a little bit later for second round pick because there's going to be basically running backs completely flooding this second round of draft pick. What's up, Fizzle Dollars? What's going on,
what
man?
Up, Fizzle?
Appreciate you checking in with us. And yeah, I would be okay with this. It's just so borderline. He basically has to be good in 2025 and still have this role. So with a lot of these running backs, we're going to be hoping that they fight off whatever competition that their teams draft. I just feel like with the Giants, they should be focused on quarterback. They should be focused on a lot of other positions versus the running back spot. I mean, they invested late this past year. I could kind of expect them to invest late again. And the trade I did, I was receiving Jameis Winston and Tyrone Tracy, and I gave up 2 seconds. I gave up 2026 second, or they're actually both 2026 seconds. So 2 2026 seconds for Winston and Tracy. That my team currently is 9-4. So I'm going for it. How do you feel about that deal?
Yeah, I think it's a little iffy to me.
And this was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So
just because Tracy probably looked a little bit better 2 weeks ago. Just because we know Winston is most likely going to be a 0 in 2025,
yeah,
and there's a chance that Tracy goes to 0 as well. It's risky, but at the same time, all you're losing is 2026 seconds. So it's not the end
yeah.
of the world. Just go win the league, right?
Yeah, I feel like both are good, and I have Stroud and Jaden Daniels on bye week 14, so that was really why I wanted an extra quarterback there.
Gotcha.
Get through that next by apocalypse. So start Daniels or Stafford this week from Murray Rosenfeld. What's going on, Murray? Appreciate you jumping in here. And guys, hit the like button, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. I would be starting Daniels, lock him in. How do you feel about this one?
Absolutely. Give me the guy with rushing upside and floor. Stafford's been playing great recently, but it's really tough when you don't rush at all.
You know, it's tell me how you feel about this. There was a redraft home league where it's really shallow, everything's shallow, but it still must start 2 quarterback. But then there's a restriction on you can only roster 3 max quarterbacks. So A-Rich becomes available. This is a couple of weeks ago. We find out he's a start again. I pick up A-Rich and drop Stafford, who was on bye at the time. And then he proceeds to have like the 27-point game. And then last week was okay. Obviously, AR had that 130-point game, but then he had a dud the next week. Did I? Can you make me feel better about that move?
Well, I would have done the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I had Baker as my other guy, and I think Goff is my other one. So I felt a little bit more comfortable in those. And I had to drop one of the statue quarterbacks.
Yeah, I definitely like it. AR is just so hard to project. It's really, if he gets those rushing touchdowns, then he's going to have a huge week. But he's really hard to project from a weekly perspective.
All right, so Fizzle says it's a high price to pay for guys that might not play much in 2025, but man, go chase that ring. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm nervous, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so before we go into any more, I want to look at one more of your close matchup. So break this one down for us.
Yeah, so this one I'm going against my brother. And he is like passively tanking. He's not really trading away all of his assets, but he's one of the worst teams in the league. And I lost to him. So that was rough. For multiple reasons. He's my brother, and I lost to a tanking team. I needed a little bit more out of my quarterbacks, especially Hurts and Herbert giving me 42. And there's a slight increase to quarterback scoring in this league. Plus, this was the only week all season that I benched Keenan Allen and regretted it. He had a great day on my bench.
Man.
And I thought he was completely dead. So
yeah, like that's so crazy, man. So 204 to 128. So who went off
182
for him? Or 182. Yeah, who went off for him? Oh man, McBride. There you go.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
big tight end premium. Start 2 tight ends.
And Hawkinson, yeah. Okay. Oh, he blew you out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Njoku, that snow game, like, you find out you're about to be in a snow game, do you ever pivot kind of last second to just a different player? I remember thinking about it, but in a different way. I was thinking maybe I should play Nick Chubb this week because usually it favors the running back. Even though he was horrible all season, I had kind of given up hope. But do you ever, like once you kind of have your mindset, like, do you just, I know I mentioned the weather earlier, but would you just go with your conviction, or do you let any of those last second tinkering ideas creep into your thought process?
I think if you're tinkering for a good reason, like weather, like a snow game, then I'm fine with it. Try not to tinker just for no reason, But I would say that yes, snow games help the running backs in terms of teams run more, but at the same time, I think the biggest thing with snow games is that there's fewer points, which means that I probably want to shy away from everybody more.
Thank you. You just reminded me. I was going to ask you earlier. One of my main processes. So on the player projections, you can see the implied point totals for those games. I've always used the the game total for when I'm deciding on kickers, because I don't even know what's going to happen with kickers. So I'm just like, what team is going to score the most points? But for the individual players, a lot of times, especially if it's a running back, I like to know which team has the lead or is going to score a lot of points, stuff like that. But yeah, guys, make sure you're looking at that, because as good as Evan is, Vegas is paying a lot of people a lot of money to just laser focus on some of these projections. So look at those Vegas point totals, and that might help you out as well. So got another question here, and then we'll jump back into the trade market. Need 2 RB, 2 YR, and a flex. Got Kyron Williams, Brees Hall, or Bucky McLaurin. And then you got Evans, Jennings, Watson, Jameson Williams, or DJ Moore. So 2 running back, 2 wide receiver. I'm starting. Man, Bucky. I want to look at some Bucky trades. This guy's pretty exciting, but I think you have to go with the starting running backs, right? And Kyron Williams and Brees Hall. It's
Absolutely.
just the volume. Running back is a volume game. Bucky went off this week. That was his best game of the season. The only X factor is he's playing the Carolina Panthers this week, so we're definitely expecting them to be winning that matchup. And the Jets are essentially dust. But we just saw Brees come off of a great game. We know he's not going to do that back-to-back weeks, but I can't bench all that.
I honestly, while I do lean Brees over Bucky, I think it is a close conversation this week. Just because Brees is playing the Seahawks, who have been real good against the run over the last 5 or 6 games. Meanwhile, Bucky's going against the Panthers, who are by far the worst against the run. So I think I will probably have these guys within a couple spots by the end of the week. Right now, in the very initial process of the weekly rankings, I have Brees at 11 and Bucky at 17, and I expect that gap to close.
All right, you guys, you heard that. You're getting some sneak peeks on the rankings. All right, so I'll finish out the question, but I will look into Bucky trade here in a moment. So McLaurin, Evans, Jennings. Okay, I'm not going Watson. Okay, so I think I go Evans. He's chasing that record for yardage, and he's missed some games, so he's got some catching up to do. And I feel like how has Jennings been with everyone healthy? I don't know, but I think he's just the most consistent option of these other. Wait, DJ Moore's on it. Yeah, I'll go with DJ Moore. Whoops. But we need to flex. So I'll go Moore and Jennings and Evans to round it out. Unless you want Bucky over Moore, but I think I lean Moore there. Now,
what about McLaurin?
Okay. Whoops. Yeah, McLaurin, Evans, DJ Moore. Then that's me. How about you?
Yeah, I think to me, McLaurin's and Evans for sure. And then it comes down to Jennings versus DJ Moore. I currently have them back to back. It really depends. If Purdy plays, I would probably go Jennings. And if not, give me DJ Moore.
Boom. I love this question because I have already made my graphic. I have not recorded my waiver wire show, but Noah Gray's on there. 2 back-to-back weeks of 2 touchdowns. I believe Kelsey had 38 snaps last week. Noah Gray had 28 snaps last week. So they're running the 2 tight end sets. They just run out of bodies. You got a rookie wide receiver Worthy, and who's more of, he's a rookie, and you've got Hopkins and Kelsey are a little bit older. So I understand them wanting to go that way. They gave Noah Gray a contract to begin the year. So what is your heat check on Noah Gray? How are you feeling about him?
Well, I think that the touchdowns haven't, that's fluky. 2 touchdown games.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily projecting him as a must start for the rest of the season, but I like him a lot in Dynasty for sure. We got trades here for a 3rd or a 4th. Give me Noah Gray over that in tight end premium leagues for sure. Fizzle says, Kelsey could be on the outs after this year. I think that's quite likely. And I think Noah Gray is trusted by Mahomes. So, yeah, give me that guy. I think Noah Gray is going to rise a lot in our Dynasty rankings this week too.
Yeah, it'll all be up to Kelsey, and I think regardless of what he said, he can do whatever he wants to do. And if they win this 3rd title, I mean, at that point, that's that's like the epitome of a walk off into the sunset.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a fourth one after that. So you just gotta quit while you're at Kelsey. So he's a stash. I'm not starting him next week, but yeah, for Dynasty, it's a good play there. So yeah, man, I like that fizzle. We got okay, Daniel Quintanilla. Hi. Kicker defense question, which are also on the player projections for what it's worth. Um, you got some. Should I keep Basel rest of the season? Pick up Pack. Yeah. So Basel's been great, and kickers are. Excuse me. Steelers. They're willing to kick it. You know, there's been years past where they would go for two a lot, but this year they have been having trouble going in the end zone. So it's not even about extra points. It's just they can't even get to the end zone consistently. So he's been getting a ton of points. I can't believe it. It's coming back to weather for me, though. It's an outdoor stadium. I do worry about the snow or the cold game impacting these. And the last that Bears game, Browns game, they were kicking in that game too, and it was fine. So as much as I want to say weather may be a factor, it seems like they were still kicking it and not worried too much about it. So I'm fine kicking him or keeping him because I just don't want to put too much thought into the kicker spot. Like I'm not gonna say just go after guys in the dome because we've seen other guys are just better, or it's more about the offense. The kicker's just a function of whatever the offense is doing. And then defense wise, we'd have to look at the schedule. But
So the Packers play the Seahawks, Saints, and Vikings in the playoffs. Those aren't great matchups. You know, they're fine.
yeah,
I would
Darnold can throw
probably
some
look
picks.
at other options.
Yeah,
But yeah, the Texans have a horrible schedule. They have like the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Dolphins. So definitely want to pivot off of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh yeah, I see your next question. Yeah, so yeah, go with that move, Packers for now, but just keep an eye on it. I'm not locked in on any defense. Okay, wire 2, 1 flex, Lamb, Evans, AJ. These are great options.
Man.
Come on now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you meant 2 wide receivers, but anyway, you're playing Lamb. The targets haven't dropped off. He's had double-digit targets every game. You're playing Lamb no matter what. Or what's that? What's that look for?
I don't know. I mean, you got AJ Brown, Puka, Evans. I think you can afford to sit Lamb if you want to. I'm definitely starting AJ Brown against Baltimore. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think Puka versus the Saints or Evans versus Carolina. I'm probably starting Evans.
Okay.
Evans and AJ.
Evans and AJ. Puka probably a third for you and Lamb at 4 maybe. Okay. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb has not. He's only had one 100-yard game, I think, going back to week 8. And whatever he did this past week. So it hasn't been consistent. The targets have been there. I saw a stat that he's had a minimum of 4 catches in the first, I believe, quarter of every for the last 44 games, which snaps Michael Thomas's streak. But that's not going to win you a league. But it does mean that he's at least involved in the first part of the game, so he's not just like a ghost. He has a pretty high floor.
Absolutely, he's a total floor play. You know he's going to get you 10 points, but he's probably not getting you 20 with Cooper Rush.
Yeah, Arthur Smith's offense is a kicker's dream. Yeah, he was crushing it for a young Wei Koo. Okay. Wanted to take a quick peek back over at some of the Dynasty market going on over here. But I'll mention my bad beat real quick. I was tied for first place, going head-to-head against the other first place team. And they beat me with Saquon Barkley. It was pretty brutal. I had Derrick Henry last night, but I knew he wasn't going to do enough to get me there. Saquon Barkley, 46 points in PPR. I mean, this is basically a league winner, man. In a player profiler league, the one that kind of got me where I am today, I traded for Barkley. I actually at the beginning of the season traded like Brandon Ayuk and I don't know, something for Barkley and Jacoby Myers, and that's been working out fantastically.
Oh yeah, jeez.
uh, yeah, we can't look at Barkley trades. He's not attainable, guys. You have to, you gotta. I don't know what you're gonna trade to get him, but I don't think so. Okay, Jose Rodriguez, welcome in everybody. Like and subscribe. Appreciate you all. 2 running backs: Mixon, Hall, Chase Brown, Connor. I'm rocking with Mixon and downtown Chase Brown. How you doing?
Right there with you. Both Brees and James Conner have rough matchups this week. Brown and Mixon have a little bit better matchup. So yeah, give me those guys.
Sweet. Okay, so I'm almost embarrassed to say what I just traded to get Chase Brown today. I'll at least pull some up here. It's my, when I'm trying to go for the win, I get a little more egregious. So don't think everyone's penny pinching, but I was scared to say it. I traded Zay Flowers and a 2027 first round pick and a third round pick for a fourth round pick in Chase Brown.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, I felt like I was good at receiver, and I think even though I've got Bijan and Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, and I even have McCaffrey, I'm kind of loaded at running back, but these guys aren't producing.
Right.
None of those guys are producing what Brown is doing at all, and I love that Chase Brown's getting a lot of the production out of the receiving element as well. Only like 1 touchdown in the last 3 games for Chase Brown, but so many catches that he's getting there no matter what. So I'm in on him as a person in my lineup. I don't love that trade at all. I didn't love it when I made it, but this is just for the people to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's one of those trades where you better win.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to go all in, but I see Chase Brown for a 2025 first. I obviously in that team I don't have 2025 first. If I'm doing those type of moves, that 25 first is long gone.
Yeah.
Would you do that though? Let's ask. I see 2 of these in a row for that deal.
Oh, man, that's risky for me. I would do it in the right situation.
Yeah, we already mentioned this draft class next year is going to be scary.
Yeah, I don't think Chase Brown is this guy who is just so good that he'll stay a bell cow for years to come. I think there's a pretty solid chance that he gets some competition next year. And, what does that look like? Now he's like an RB2 or RB3. Those guys aren't worth first-round picks. So
yeah, I 100% agree with you. He has to avoid whatever happens next year, has to stay healthy even this year for it to pay off. So
yeah, but if it's the right situation, where you really need a running back and you're a competing team, then sure, I understand.
Yeah, I was trying to see what else I could have got for Zay, but the targets, they're there for the most part, right? But I just feel like the production is off, and then I may still have a little bit of like my preseason bias where I'm like, I just don't love the pass volume in total from the Ravens. So some of that's creeping in, and I had so many receivers out producing him. So for me, it's one of those things where I lost on value for sure. It's just I still think I can outproduce everything he's doing there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got a couple more. All right, Murray, what's going on? Should I drop Disley to yes to get? Oh, if this is redraft, how you feeling about this?
Disley way over Noah Gray in redraft.
Okay, yeah, redraft, yeah.
But Noah Gray over Disley in Dynasty.
Yeah, Disley's had consistent targets these past 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm he's actually having a career high. I saw the game last night, or 2 nights ago, whatever it was. Last night, yeah, they showed on the screen he's having a career high. He's having a great season. Okay. Freezy Fantasy. All right, 10-man PPR start to Chase Brown, Cooper Kupp, Bucky Irvin. So the first 2, right?
Yeah, I think you got to go with the first 2. But man, it hurts to sit Bucky in this beautiful matchup.
Yeah, like on my start sit show when someone was asking about Rachaad White, I was like, yeah, I mean. I don't know, man. He's not the only guy you got to worry about in that backfield. And shoot, Sean Tucker made a reappearance and got a touchdown again too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is a good trade to trade Connor for Chase Brown. Historically Connor has had one injury per season. He has not had that injury yet. All right, I'm not wishing it on. I'm just saying, it might happen. They've already got someone to replace him. Chase Brown still is just Khalil Herbert behind him. We'll see after this bye, have they gotten Khalil Herbert more integrated into the offense? I hope not. But regardless, Chase Brown has no other competition, and he doesn't have a rushing quarterback to vulture anything from him.
Yeah, no, Chase Brown for sure. There's several workhorses in the NFL, but Chase Brown is the most workhorse by a long shot. He just gets every single carry and every single target for the running backs.
Yeah, and one thing, guys, that we definitely need to do is talk about Fast Draft. So hold on tight, and we'll be right back.
Oh, incredible news about Fast Draft. Fast Draft DFS is live. It's called the Flex 6 Frenzy. You just draft 6 guys, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends for the Sunday slate. You like Jahmyr Gibbs? You like Jackson Smith and Jigba? You like Tyrone Tracy? Draft him, draft him, draft him. And the beauty is you can just order 5 teams, submit your rankings, and Fast Draft will email you the results. We awarded $1,000 in prizes our first week, and we're just going up from there. Soon there's going to be a select 6. No drafting at all. You just pick any 6 guys. Our DFS mantra, just say no to salaries on Fast Draft. Don't forget there's free tools on Fast Draft too. You want to get ready for startup season? We've created the best Dynasty mock draft experience there is. And if you want to play in these DFS contests, and our best ball contest for 2025 are coming very soon too, just use promo code PODFATHER when you deposit and you get a free draft. It's that easy. And you're like, oh, I already have Fast Draft. Great. Refer a friend. Have them put your username in as the promo code, and then you and your friend will both get an instant deposit match up to $25. We got DFS. We got Dynasty Mocks. We got Best Ball. It's all there for you on fastdraft.app. Check it out. And the promo code is PODFATHER.
Yeah, check it out. I won a couple matches in the last 2 weeks, so feeling pretty good about it. It's fun, and then I'm excited for draft season too, man. What is your involvement when it comes to draft season? Are you doing, or is there someone with the team that is doing some of the college metrics and things like that? As far as now that they're in the league, what do we kind of project them to do in 2025? What's your involvement around that?
Yeah, so right now our player pages for college players are updating every week with fresh stats, so you can pull those up, during the college season if you want. Then of course we'll come out with the breakout finder around February, March time with the prospects we expect to be great in the NFL. And then it's a long process, but lots of evaluation to do.
Yeah, I love the breakout finder. Man, it's almost that time. I'm excited. I love the new playoff format. I like some of the new conferences and how things are shaking out. I'm a Texas guy, so it's looking good for us. Okay, which defense do you rank higher this week, KC or Dallas? Chiefs have been great. Dallas getting healthy at the right time. I'm also one of them boys, so one of their biggest issues is they lost so many guys immediately, or not immediately, just early in the season. And I'm not talking about Dak. I'm talking about Micah Parsons. He's a couple games back healthy now. Deron Bland had his first game back. He was the interception NFL record holder. You've got a lot of good players coming back, but it almost doesn't matter to me because they're playing the Giants, and almost anyone can get off on them, I think. How are you feeling about Tommy DeVito in his second start? Do you think that's something that you can exploit, or are you just going to lean with one of the best defenses in the league in the Chiefs?
Yeah, so the Chiefs defense hasn't been like amazing recently. I mean, they just let Bryce Young have a really good game against them. I'm leaning Dallas here actually, but it does depend on which quarterback starts for the Raiders, which quarterback starts for the Giants. DeVito was a little banged up. If it is DeVito, then I definitely want to start the Cowboys because he takes a ton of sacks and he's pretty liable to throw a pick as well. And that's really all we're looking for. In Vegas, it's probably going to be O'Connell, who doesn't get sacked at all. So I wouldn't be super interested in that. But if it was Desmond Ridder, then I think it is a very close call.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm going with Dallas in that spot, Murray. So good luck. Yeah, they're coming off of a short week, but they'll be fine. They'll be ready for it. Hey, CHB, what's going on? How are you feeling about the Dolphins player rest of season? Yeah, I just played against this guy in one of my leagues, but he was already current champ, so keep dominating, champ. I took over an orphan in that spot, and I think I'll get my draft picks right where I want them. So how are we feeling about the Dolphins? We talked about Jonnu's bounce back, and we had the Waddle game that we were hoping for. Tyler Knably, he nailed it in one of his start sit shows on the Player Profiler channel and said he's sticking with Waddle. He's not giving up. So how are you feeling about him and Tyreek Hill? You got a chance. You know he's good, but how about the rest of these guys?
Yeah, I think obviously the guy that we're most confident in is Devon Achane at this point because he's been getting a great workload and he's got the explosiveness. I think Jonnu Smith is a high floor tight end option as well. Feel pretty comfortable with him. And the receivers are going to be volatile. I think Tyreek will have a big game soon, and probably Waddle will as well. They have a pretty good schedule. They have this snow game in Lambeau, which will not be favorable. But then they have the Jets, whose defense has fallen apart recently, the Texans, who have been up and down, the 49ers, who have been up and down, and then the Browns. So that's a pretty good schedule for Tyreek and Waddle to get going. And yeah, I think I'd be more of a buyer than a seller.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, they mostly will be playing in warm weather games. So even though I mentioned the next matchup will be cold, I think they'll be fine in that game. It's not like the deep depths of December quite yet, even though we're almost there. So cool.
Yeah, the one bad matchup would be Week 17. They get the Browns in Cleveland, so that could be a weather game as well.
All right. Yeah, that's right. They're going right back to the cold. So it's rough, but it's one of those things where at this point, if Waddle's been this bad this long, then you've hopefully been finding ways to get someone else you can depend on. So even though he had this good game, you still may have some other options in the bag. Yeah, man, I'll go ahead and get ready to close this out. My big win of the week. I mentioned my bad beat, but my big win of the week was in a close playoff matchup where there's only 4 teams that make it. It's our home league. Only 4 teams make it into playoffs. I was going up against a team that's the current champ. If they had won, we would be tied, and we'd be tied for like maybe 4th or 5th. But I won, put me into 3rd place, and but I only won by like let's see, 9 points. He had on Monday night Lamar going, J.K. Dobbins going, Cameron Dicker. So Dicker gets 16.6, Lamar gets 22.6. But we all know Dobbins ends up getting injured. He got an 8.9, but so it feels like if he was healthy, maybe he would have got there because he had been kind of on a little bit of a tear. So I feel like I got lucky there.
Yeah, it's never fun going against Lamar on Monday night like that. Like he could easily just put up 50 and you're done.
Yeah, exactly. That was
you should feel grateful.
Yeah, I was thinking like I'm up like 50 going into the night, and I don't feel safe at all whatsoever. And got completely lucky. So guys, go check out some stats on Player Profiler as the week rolls out. We'll get those updated. He gave you a little bit of a sneak peek today, but absolutely go ahead, see what we're doing rest of the week. If you want to check in the meantime, go see what Evan's doing. What is it? At Evan Ringler FF. Is that correct?
Yep, exactly. And then also my Stat Masters podcast, where every Friday or Saturday I'll put out a very quick hitting show, just a bunch of stats and statistical takeaways to help you get an edge in fantasy.
Love it, man. All right. Well, like and subscribe. Appreciate everyone that's been in the chat. You can find me at Dynasty F Key, Dynasty Football Key, and we will see you guys next week. And again, make sure y'all enjoy the feast, enjoy the turkey, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.